My name is Mario Nichols, and this is Franklin Boulevard Media. Grew up Gastonia, North Carolina, right outside of Marietta Street, 208 to be exact. Juneteenth, I'm a Gemini baby. Elementary, Woodhill representing. Middle school / junior high was Highland Junior High. I'm a Ram. And of course, Green Wave, all day. I grew up with my father and my grandmother. It was different. My grandmother was sick, so we took care of her. It was a good experience, though, to grow up in that house with the old soul like my grandmother. She was something else. She never played around, I played a little bit of sports. I played baseball, St. Michael's, football for Highland Junior High. I was into music, though. I was in the gospel choir at Ashbrook High School. That's kind of what brought me out of my shell was the gospel choir. I think the team of, baseball and football, the camaraderie or whatever of that was dope. But what brought me out of my shell was the gospel choir, I would say. I started singing as a kid. I remember my Aunt Sis would always have me sing an old school song to her, and I really didn't understand, but I remember her crying when I would sing, and I didn't understand the impact until I got older and realized that, it was one of the things that I could do, I would say, After high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a sense of direction, to be totally honest. I just, I was just like, no more school, just find a great job, whatever. That's, my thing, just to find a great job, figure out what I wanted to do. So I didn't have a direct path of what I wanted to do. And then I think that like 2 or 3 summers later, I started working at Hillbillies. And when working there, we catered the Hornets jet. So, oh man, it was just like one of those things to where I knew that they were going and meeting the Hornets and going to the training facilities and catering and doing all of those things. And I just wanted to be a part. And my mentor to this day, Chris Earl, was just like, there's a few things you got to do, in order to do that. And it was those hard conversations that we had that really gave me the growth that I needed in this field, because a lot of times people don't want to have hard conversations with people. They just much rather just say, hey, thank you for coming out, but we won't be needing your services type thing. And then there's those people that say, hey, do you want to do better? If you do, this is what you should do. And that was the difference, is he actually told me what it was that I needed to do. And, that's how it all started. He was the owner at that point. He was one of the owners of Hillbillies. Yes, he owned Hillbillies at that point. To this day, I actually just talked to him like 2 weeks ago. His wife came to visit me in Vegas. So I left Hillbillies and I followed him to Lake Wiley. He opened up a bar and grill in Lake Wiley. And at first I went there as just being a regular employee. I worked there for like a year or two. And his kitchen manager at the time had to have back surgery. So he went on a leave and I just stepped in. And when I stepped in, I was able to make an impact in such a way that he was just like, how would you like to continue to be the kitchen manager here? And for me, that is when it just really just started, After Christopher's, I had the opportunity to open up a restaurant, from ground up, watch it through the remodel stage, build the menu, and do all of that. So I actually did that not too far from Christopher's. So when doing that, I learned a whole lot when it came to different cuisines and just furthered my knowledge. And that was that Fat Cats in Lake Wiley. Yeah, I was there for a little bit throughout that opening period, and I'll never forget that experience because I went from just being a regular employee to, that kitchen manager that created a menu and had people out there that came to see them. And it was just an experience that I thought, man, I just thought that was just the top of it right there. I thought that was just the best of the best at that point for me. So then after that, I had the opportunity to work at the Hilton in Charlotte because I wanted to be the food and beverage administrator just to learn a different aspect of the food business and what was going on there. And while I was working there, I was able to work part-time at a bistro in Fort Mill, which shout out to Gloria and them. They were great, great people. And I learned a lot about the Italian cuisine while I was there. And it was just a great time. And while I was there, they happened to shut down, it was during the bad period when sales weren't, driven and people weren't going out and spending money at that period. So they closed down. And when they closed down, I remember, never forget getting a call from Chris LaRusso and Steve saying, hey, we want to build this place in Lake Wiley. We need you to come back. We would love for you to come back. So I came to Lake Wiley. There went Sweetwater Bar and Grill. So, I'm at Sweetwater and they're like, hey, what can we do to be a family restaurant we want to have? And I'm just like, hey, this is what you have to do. You have to have this. You want to have this. I always wanted to be a step above what everybody else was doing as far as food, because you can go and get certain things everywhere, but you always want to have something that had just like that it factor. So they gave me that playground and that room to be able to create there. And there is when the monster really created in me as far as creativity and wanting to take things to the next level. Like, I did fried lobster mac and cheese there, lobster rangoons and stuff like that. So after that experience, then there's, of course, Grits and Greens. Me and a good friend of mine, we teamed up, 2 kids, 30-some years old. We both had been in the restaurant. She had been a server, manager for a while. I had been in the serving, every different area in the restaurant. So we just was like, hey, let's make it happen. And that's basically what we did. 2 kids, and everybody thought we were crazy when we started, because we didn't have the experience. And I'll say that, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what all it was going to take. We just knew what we wanted and the passion that we had. And for me, it was just a chance to finally come back home to really do it for home. And man, I just dove all the way in. Very supportive, loyal to this day. I love Lowell. They always came out and supported everybody around. Gastonia period came out and supported Grits and Greens, and it's one of those things that I'll never forget. I was able to see faces that from school, childhood, and to be able to come back in a different aspect in someone's life sometimes. It doesn't always have to have an impact, but it can impact you. It was one of those things to where just seeing people with me being there and being able to do something I love, it was a feeling that one of the pinnacles of my life, I'd say. I left because I wanted something different. It's just like with everything, you can be doing this and it's just like, I want something different. I want more. And it wasn't anything other than the fact that I have a family, they're Smiths, and they wanted to do something. And I wanted to build a legacy for the family. I wanted to be a part of something that was a legacy for the family. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about anything but another thing to say, hey, this is Smiths. When I heard Smiths, I was like, hey, it was a done deal for me, because I was able to think about my family and how I grew up, the meals I had on the table, the things and those special memories that I had to where when Smiths was even thought of and I thought that I could be a part of it, it was a no-brainer for me. No-brainer. From there, I went to Nellies, and, that was a different transition because, everybody, oh, well, you're not at Smiths. Well, what? I talk to Cheryl all the time. I love Cheryl. Cheryl made me so strong by never taking it easy on me. She is one of those women that just, when she speaks, you listen. Her, Big Boss, Miss Deborah, they just gave me those lessons that I needed. And that period that I was there was everything I needed to give me the strength of what I'm doing now, because they reflect what I was brought up on. That Smith, that, right on it, not gonna bite her tongue, not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna tell you right now, because this world won't shelter you. Why should I? That was the way I was raised. So it was a beautiful experience, so everybody, hey, what's going? Nothing. I wanted something that was going to take me to a place that I had never been before. And that was my whole reasoning for the next transition into Nellies, because of a vision they had, and it included me. And with that vision, it includes everybody in my family, because when I go there and I brand, I'm able to bring it back home. I'm able to bring that back to Gastonia, where I started, because everything I learned there, all the knowledge, everything that I'm doing there, I feel like are the tools that I'm going to need to be able to come back and do exactly what Cheryl is doing now in the community with her restaurant, mentoring the kids, giving them life experiences right now, giving away stuff, and just what she's doing in the community. I would like to be able to come back one day and be that vessel, to not be a job anymore, but be a place to be able to give those gems off to the youth that we were able to receive from places like the Boys Club, because we got those lessons there. We didn't have to just get them at home. Mr. Potlow, Mr. Perry, Jonathan, to all of those people at the Boys Club gave us that outside of our homes, and that's what Cheryl's doing. And I want to be able to do that one day, come back to let people know, hey, this is where I started, but this is where I went. You can always use things in life. And I was just having that conversation with my daughters that you can either use things that happen to you in life as a crutch or a stepping stool. It's up to you, and everybody can use it as a crutch, and that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I do that, and that's why so-and-so does this, because of what happens. Or you can use it as a stepping stool to say, hey, I'm gonna rise above that. I want to do better because of that, so that's what I want. Nellies is owned by Mr. Jonas, the Jonas brothers' father. He was actually a regular at Grits and Greens. He used to come in there and have breakfast. And I remember talking to him, and the one thing he always said was, I love what you're building here. I would love to incorporate that culture with what we're doing at Nellies. And I understood what he was saying, but it was other things that I wanted to do. And it wasn't until years later I really was like, you know what? I want to change a culture. I want to be the person that's a change of a culture. I go there to the new Nellies to change a culture, help build something, help add to what he was doing, bring that soul and Southern together. In a nutshell is what I was there for. I was there to help come to Belmont and bring soul and Southern together, that marriage of what he had and what I did, and just bring that together and change the outlook of Southern food. We are not just ordinary, bland, or not, you can't say bland when it comes to Southern, just ordinary food, we can take Southern and take it to the next level. And that's what I wanted to do. And that's what the culture that he wanted to embrace and bring to the Nellies brand. So in the beginning, it was very tough because they had a great executive chef there, that everybody really respected and loved. They had a different view of what should happen. And, I had to build that respect from them, which now I respect even more. They had to wonder why I was there. What is this guy going to do? And, we've heard so much about this person. What is he going to do for Nellies? Who is he and what can he bring to the table? To the fact to where, when someone's coming at you like that and you don't have a leg to stand on, you either have to show and prove or just say, hey, I don't know what I'm here doing either. I'm just here, and I've never been one not for a challenge. And for me, it was just like, I'm here because this is what I want to do. Let me show you, The talks of the opportunity was going in, like, hey, we want to do this here at the Belmont location. We would love to build a culture here and then be able to branch it out. We have talks of building and doing other things, maybe even in Vegas. And, I hear it and I'm just like, okay, All right, it could be that carrot. Everybody sometimes has that carrot that they'll dangle just so you can just let me get that. So that was my thought process, honestly. But I was intrigued, and I said, you know what, I'll go for it. I'll see what I can do. Now I'm currently the executive chef at the Nellies inside of the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. Yeah, I trip out myself. Man, it's huge. And, honestly, every day I wake up, you would hear it and people say things, you think, yeah, whatever. But while I'm driving there, I always think, I cannot believe I am traveling to work at the MGM Grand. First of all, I am one of very few executive chefs on the Strip, let alone in the MGM Grand. So it's a struggle every day. It's one of those things to where I have to be on my P's and Q's and make sure that I elevate me and my craft every day. I try not to stay stagnant. It's one of those things to where every day I'm learning more things. I'm learning different things because this is a whole different environment. This isn't just going in, working, and making sure something tastes good. This is an operation. This is learning union, learning how to discipline people within the union, learning how to balance work, recipes, people, HR. Everything is under this umbrella now to where it's everything I wanted. It pushed me to do and be something that I didn't even expect myself. So it's a humbling experience, and it's one of those things to where you do want people to understand that they're able to do it as well, and that they'll be able to come back and do the same things, The MGM roughly has about 20 or so restaurants in there, I would say, something like that. Morimoto's, Craft Steak, which is Tom Colicchio's restaurant. Aisha Curry's restaurant is in there. International Smoke. Wolfgang Puck has a restaurant in there. So when you hear these names, and, for me being a Food Network, foodie type person, for me to hear these names and know that I'm going to be amongst those people in that venue was something, I just can't put it into words, Our venue is the biggest venue in the MGM Grand. It's the biggest restaurant in there. It holds 300 plus. We have already done buyouts for 300-400 plus to where they come in, buy the complete restaurant out. We've hosted the Latin Grammys already. Of course, we've hosted release parties for the boys and just certain things and events for them, as well as corporate. The Jonas Brothers. We've held corporate and corporate events and private events for the Jonas Brothers. So we're doing a lot in that new little restaurant. So it's a big thing. I laugh all the time. Me and my cousin, we laugh because I can remember being at my cousin's house and just going in the cabinets and just rummaging through the cabinets in the refrigerator and just, hey, we would make a meal. Whatever was in there, I was going to make something happen. And it was going to be good and we were going to enjoy it. So I think that passion and that love kind of started there with just making something happen. And then it just elevated over the years because I feel like food in the industry as a whole elevated over the years, I think not a lot of people really aspired to be chefs at my age. There were people that were just driven to know that's what they wanted to do. And then now I think people see the possibilities in being a chef more than when we were kids, because it was home ec was a class I think that a lot of us took because it was girls in there and you could eat. I could be speaking for myself, but it wasn't where I wanted to come and gain the knowledge of, oh, this could be a career, because when you think of food, I don't know if a lot of us really thought of executive chefs as a career when I was younger. So I think nowadays it's more sought after, like, hey, I want to be a chef. I want to be this. I want to be a private caterer and all of those because it puts you in situations and around people that you never thought you would be. Man, I smile every time I come home. I love how we're growing. I look uptown because I was so close to uptown, and just looking at the growth and what's happening up there, and the events that we're hosting now at the pavilion and some of the new places, and just the things that we're doing, the Black Business Social, the Juneteenth event, just everything that we're doing in Gastonia as a whole is just beautiful to me. And I think a lot of times if you look at the picture that I take with people, you'll always see me hold up the fort, because I'll always be Gastonia, exit 17. That's me. It's in my heart. That's why I was raised. I'll always come back. And like I mentioned earlier, my hopes is to one day come back and be a vessel for my community where I grew up, and show people that was right down the road from where I was raised, as well as my father and my grandmother, to show them you can do anything you want to do as long as you apply yourself and just go after it and be resilient. Don't ever stop. Next for me, currently, been doing a lot of things with TV, doing a little interviews or whatever when it comes to food. My next thing now is to brand myself. As far as, I would love to do a cookbook. I have the blessing to be able to have backing to actually do a cookbook, and just exposure and try to brand myself, as well as the business, but I want to brand me and what I want to bring to the table and what I want to do differently when it comes to food. Can't disclose the name of the book yet, but it is going to be a recipe coming out. Recipe book coming real soon. Trying to finish it up. Just got to get it, fine-tuned. That's the next deal for me. I would love to come back home and create something different for North Carolina that, I feel we have a lot of soul food restaurants. Let's just be honest. We have a lot of Southern and soul food restaurants now. So if I were to come back home, what I would love to do is do a fusion soul food restaurant, to where I took Southern and other cuisines and mixed them, kind of like I did with my soul roll, where I took Asian thing and made it Southern. I would love to be able to fuse different cuisines like that when I come back, and that's my goal, That's it, man. I'm blessed and honored to be here. Thankful. I just blessed.